Welcome along. It's Monday Malarkey 1.6 locked and loaded. This is quite an exciting course with a couple of big lumps to go over. Apologies if you don't recognise the background today. There's been a real life cycling event in this very room that I'm in. The last rider's just finished and gone home. So I'm free to now concentrate on Monday Malarkey. And I've been looking forward to this all day. Sad news though that Alex Gold suddenly currently sitting third in the rankings. You can see there, Saddle Trunk rider. He will probably not ride tonight. He rode in our event today. Unfortunately, going down a hill quite fast, two riders in front crashed and he hit one of the riders. So I've got a feeling that he won't be riding tonight. He was here about half an hour ago. He's fitting well. A little bit of a scratch on the arm, but I don't think he's probably going to make the race now. He had intended to. I'm sure some of the West London riders won't be in tonight. Tim Humpton is the man to beat. Rob Miller from R3R is obviously the man most likely to catch him. With Alex Gold going missing today, Jep Snaver could sneak up into the podium places. Evan Oysenson, Tony Martin-Lake, Gordon Jackson, Clive Byam, Carl Alexander Persson, who's had some great results recently, and our very own Lee Perry, who wasn't here today, so he may well ride tonight. Let's see what happens. Now then, it's a very big week, and there's massive goings on. I mean, the world of online racing is absolutely amazing at the moment, isn't it? There's so much news going on, and one of the big events coming to the platform we're on at the moment, Indy Velo, which I think is one of the hot platforms going forward, is Chase the Yellow this week, and we can have some news of that later. Meanwhile, that's the course for Locked and Loaded. You just see there. You can see the profile at the top. There are two big lumps. The second one over the top in the middle of the island, which we went over last week, and the earlier one around about the lakes. So those two climbs are going to be decisive. It's only just over 12 kilometres though, so not the longest race we will do. I think the two climbs will determine the outcome. Let's see what the start line looks like. And as I say, I think there'll be a few riders from our crew missing today, and only 21 in, so that's not as big as usual, but we were expecting that. As I say, we've got our own in real life event here today at West London Cycling. So 9 seconds to go. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and off they go. Now it'll be a very, very fast start, I would expect, as we go off. I can see one West London jersey quite near the front. I would expect that to be Top Jimmy. A couple of riders off the front at the moment, and as they go through the arch. Looking from the front here now, Jep Snaver riding for R3R. Somebody's coming through now to take first position, but they jostle around a little bit. Dan Manalo, Top Jimmy in the West London kit, Zeb Norman in there, Morten Vang, Ludwig Karlberg, Jan van der Linden, Evan Ostenson for R3R, Tim Humpton in there, of course, Lee Louis leading the Ladies League at the moment, and Ludwig Karlsberg, Carl Anders Pettersson in there, as we'd expect. Some new riders in here too. Anders Ostergaard, we've seen before. Jep Snaver we'd expect to see in there. So Matt James too. And I think that's Thomas Bayon off the front. And Thomas riding for the Electric Spirit team. Now, the Electric Spirit team are quite dominant here. We are running a team's classification in the individual races, but we're not running it over the series as we get to grips with it. It is seemingly working. I'm pretty sure the teams thing is working as it's meant to now, but we're getting close to the end of this series. Only 4 races after this one, 10 in this series. When we start again in October, we'll go in earnest with the team's classification and others. Nevertheless, race 6. After this, we get the best of 6 classification coming into play as well. So obviously, the best of 6 will look the same after 6 races as does the general classification. Nevertheless, after the next race, it will start becoming significant. Matt James pulling away out the front now for Electric Spirit. They are quite between them and R3R. I think they are the dominant teams of this series so far. We have Ludwig Karlberg on his wheel, creating quite a big gap now back to the others. 6 seconds between these two and the rest. They're going up 6%. So this is the first of the climbs. And it's Ludwig Karlberg who's pulling away very strongly. I think Matt James was just trying to get an early lead on that hill rather than actually attack it. Just didn't want to lose too much ground. Ludwig, though, is absolutely attacking that. Now got a 5-second lead on the peloton, though. I get the impression the peloton are closing in and he's losing a little bit of steam. It looks visually like it's getting closer. It's hovering around that 5-second mark. And you can see somebody coming up there, catching up. These hills really do break everything up. See another rider in the red there just coming up, catching up. Meanwhile, there's a little bit of a split in the middle. I think it's probably a little bit difficult to read exactly how this is done, but it's definitely thinning up, and the gaps are appearing as Ludwig Karlberg and Thomas Bayen now on the front. Morten Vang just behind them. Top Jimmy's still in there, riding very, very well. He'll be delighted with that. And you can see the effect of this first hill now. Some of the riders falling off the back. We're watching Luciano Vildrome, and he's obviously falling off a little bit there at 17th place. 4 seconds ahead of Neil Walker, though. Tony Martin Lake, Gordon Jackson in there, the man from Lancaster, who have, I think, is in everybody's hearts from a few races ago when we saw him do that sort of chase, which was ultimately futile. And we go back to the back, and we're looking now at Evan Oystensen, Clive Byam, Sandy Thompson at 23rd. Sandy sent me a very nice message. Actually, there's more than 21 in the starting line. I got that one wrong, didn't I? So it's 29, I think, something like that. Neil Pugh in there, Lee Louis at 26th, and 27th, Marius Golefeg. Sandy Thompson, as I say, sent me a very nice message during the week, and thank you very much for that, Sandy. That was much appreciated. Very kind of you. It was concerning Paris-Brest-Paris, and Sandy's from the Bristol area, and if you are from outside of the UK, you might not be aware, but one of our biggest randonneuring clubs, or Audax clubs as we call them here, is Audax Club Bristol. And Sandy was commenting about all the people in Bristol doing Paris-Brest-Paris this week, which I rode myself. And it was very, very hot, as Sandy identified. So thanks very much for the message, Sandy, and very well received. Thomas Bayen, Ludwig Karlberg and Morten Vang now at the front. I think this has selected what the first peloton is, but don't forget we've still got that second big lump to go over. There's still more to come in this, I'm sure. We can see they're at the top of the hill now. So now here comes the descent. Make sure you don't get caught out on the descent. Stay with this group. This group now is quite decisive. 9 riders are pulling away. There's a 12-second gap back to Zed Norman in 10th. What will happen on the descent? You can gain ground on descents, which may not always be obvious, but keep pedalling down these. You can see it's not tight together, but I don't think anybody's being what I would call dropped, and I think this will come together as they get together. Zed Norman on his own here. You can see on the right-hand screen is fighting to get back on, and will he or won't he? He's 13 seconds off the group in front with only 7 seconds to the next two behind. They might be better grouping up as a 3 with Dan Manello and Jan van der Linden. Rob Miller at 16th, the R3R rider, just behind them, but a few seconds gap. This has split it. Zeb's still on his own. Can he catch the group? The gap is widening, I think. So this group of 9 riders, there's a little bit of space before they get to the next climb, and the next climb is big. Great to see Top Jimmy in there. Obviously, I'm slightly biased because he's riding for my team, and we haven't got many riders in tonight because we ran a real-life event. Jimmy didn't do the real-life event today, so has got the fresh legs to do this for real as he descends now. And there's one of the R3R riders coming in there. It's Anders Ostergaard with Top Jimmy again. And a couple of other riders now joining them, Morten Vang and Tim Humpton. Tim Humpton leading the series now, and he is, I think between him and Rob Miller is where it's going to be. Rob Miller's not in this front group though, so I think Tim Humpton's going to have a very satisfying result here. Alex Gold in third, remember, had that little scrape coming downhill today in our event here in West London. Alex riding for Saddle Drunk. It's a member of Saddle Drunk Club. He's one of our local friends and a club down the road. So Alex, unfortunately, hitting the crash rider on a descent earlier today. In real life, of course. It hurts more when you crash on real life, I'm told. Now you can see from the profile, slightly uphill. It's 1% now, and it's a gradual 1%. So you'll need to have strong legs. It's down at 0% at the moment, but you can see it kind of looks flat between two mountains, but it's not entirely. So you need strong legs. Top Jimmy's still sitting in there. I think this next climb is, you can see it's almost twice as big as the first one. So it's 8.5 kilometres to the end. They're about a third of the way through the course as Top Jimmy takes a turn on the front. I'm not sure how advisable that is, but there's 9 riders in this, and if Jimmy finishes well within that bunch, I think he will be very, very happy. So Jep Snever, Top Jimmy, Thomas Bayen, Morten Vang, Tim Hampton, Asta Zuthgaard, Ludwig Kohlberg, Colin Axel Xander Persson, who's had some great results making up the group. Dan Manilow is now in 10th position, so Zeb Norman moves back. Zeb Norman's with him, so Zeb Norman's just taken a turn on the front out of that group. We're watching Thomas Bayen at the moment, who is in second position, but riding with Matt James, and they've carved out a 2-second gap over the peloton now. Is anybody going to chase this down or not? Somebody going to the front at the moment. We are 7.8 kilometres into the race now. This could be decisive, maybe not. I don't know. It's not a big gap, but you can see visually now it's extending, isn't it? I mean, that is extending. Tim Hampton in this second group though, and Tim won't want that. Look at that. That is an extending gap. That's 7 or 8 seconds now. That could be big, but remember, it might just be one of those things where Matt James wants to get ahead on the climb so that, the stronger climbers need to catch him before they can go around him, and it gives him some breathing space in the race. We'll have to see how that plays out. Not a bad move and a bad tactic if that's the case. And they've eked it out even more now. We're talking about 9 seconds. So that's 10 seconds now. As I say, I think this might be tactical because I think a lot's going to be played out on the next climb. So these 7 riders chasing down 2 R3R riders in there. You can see the light blue, white, red and black kit they wear. Pretty decisive. Tim Hampton in there in 7th place. The Electric Spirit team have been very strong in this. I'm not sure how many Electric Spirit. Thomas Bayen is in there for Electric Spirit as well. So, but he's up with Matt James, isn't he? So Electric Spirit could once again get some good points. Now the team's competition, as I say, we're only doing it per race at the moment, but it will become a full-blown classification in Series 2. You can have as many riders as you like, and the first 2 of your riders over the line will, whatever points they score in the actual general classification race, will be awarded to your team. So the team with the most highest place riders will, of course, get the most points. It doesn't matter if you have 1 rider, you will still get points for 1 rider. But if you have 10, you'll only get points for the first 2. But it does allow for a lot of flexibility, and you can deliver 1 rider over the line. I don't mind how you play out the tactics, but it's all about good racing for me. I know people have strong views on what's the right way and the wrong way to do it, and that's the way it is. But nevertheless, it's one has to make a decision on how one does the races, and I think, as I say, I think 2 riders is good enough to give the small teams a chance, and the big teams will probably be able to work and as a team to get their rider across the line. We'll see how that plays out over the series. Anyway, Electric Spirit and R3R certainly are the teams to beat. And look at that. Currently, the top 3 places are Electric Spirit. Number 4, R3R. Thomas Bayen, Matt James and Tim Hampton in the front. Now, it's Thomas Bayen who's pulled away quite strongly here. Now, see Matt James now back in the other group. And I did think that Matt was probably getting a little bit of a gap so that he didn't suffer too much on the climb. But look at this, 9%. This is going to really, really hurt. And they're only about a quarter of the way up this second climb. 9%. Indy Velo is quite a realistic platform. They will be feeling this. And you can see a couple of riders now getting spat out the back. I'm not that surprised. Still 8%. It's relentless. And as I say, probably only about a third now of the way up this climb, if that. And you can see visually how steep it looks. This must be really hurting, but it's down to 7%. Maybe a bit of respite on this little turn, but no guarantees of that. It's 11% on the turn, so it's actually the opposite. What do I know? I got that so wrong. Sometimes on a hairpin they go flat. This one yanked itself up to 11%, 10%. And once again, we have Matt James. And as I said earlier, I think he went off the front because he was he knew that this was going to be a telling climb, and he wanted a bit of breathing space. But now the breathing space is working against him. Still 8th though, ahead of Zeb Norman. So all is not lost. There's some good points to be had. Could still be a top 10 finish. We'll have to see how that one works out. And Thomas Bayen now off the front. He's got clear daylight, 7 seconds over Morten Vang of Revox, Ludwig Karlberg for Bill, and Tim Humpton dropping back a little bit as this group doesn't actually, it hasn't stayed exactly how it was from the beginning. People having strong moments and people burning themselves out, I suspect. Still 7%. What a climb. And we see Top Jimmy there just going round Ludwig Karlberg to take himself up to 3rd place. He's having a great race, isn't he? Well done, Jimmy. James from Uxbridge, as I like to say, and that should best be done in a phone-in radio station voice. We've got James from Uxbridge on the line. He's not on the line yet. He's still got 5.3 kilometres to go, as everybody else has. Tim Humpton just behind him as we go through that red and white arch, denoting that's usually the end of a segment and a climb, but this is not the end of this climb. We've still got a way to go. 5.2 kilometres to get over the lump. Then this is massive downhill. A little bit of a bump before the end and the finishing line, just in case they are together to sort that out. It's Thomas Bayen off the front, Electric Spirit in the lead. Ludwig Karlberg on your screen. He is 19 seconds behind the leader, but only 10 seconds behind the rider in front, which is possibly, I don't know. It's about halfway up the climb. It's 9%. This is relentless, this one, isn't it? As we look at Tim Humpton now, losing a little bit of ground. Now, Tim has been absolutely phenomenal in the sprints, but maybe this course is not going to suit him the best. And we'll have to see how that one turns out. He's still 4th, though, and that would be a tremendous points haul. And like I say, I think Rob Miller is not going to match that. Alex Gold isn't racing tonight due to that little scuff earlier today in our real-life event here at West London VR. So I think Tim's going to have a very satisfactory day, whether he wins or not. Meanwhile, he's got his teammate Thomas Bayen up the front. He's been chased down, though, by Morten Vang and Top Jimmy. Jimmy really coming into some good form today. I think these hills suit him. He's riding very, very strongly. Head down there, back up a bit. Yeah, maybe at that speed you don't need that much aerodynamics. But it's down to 4%. They're in this little sort of trough before the last little bit up to the top. Splendid views off the front, off the top there. I know it's not real life, but we do like the roads to look nice when we're racing on these things. And Top Jimmy is up with Thomas Bayen now. Morten Vang, Top Jimmy's gone past. Morten Vang's following on his wheel. This is interesting. 9%. And it's Morten Vang now looking the strongest at the moment. Top Jimmy having to put a bit of effort to stay on his wheel. Can he stay on that wheel? So far, so good. Are they burning matches though? 8%. Thomas Bayen is fighting back. He's not been gapped too much. Maybe it's thinning out a little bit though. Thomas Bayen now really working hard, just about clinging on. I think he's closing it down. Thomas Bayen coming in very, very strong. 12% at the moment. This is really, really strong. Thomas enjoying this 12%. He looks like he had been past and was flagging, but he's responded well. Top Jimmy now fighting back. It's down to 6% though at the moment. Not the highest gradient. It's going to flatten out a little bit as we reach the top of this climb. Morten Vang, Top Jimmy, and Thomas Bayen now fighting this out. They've got 27 seconds over Tim Humpton, who's got another 10 seconds back to Ludwig Karlberg, who's got another 10 seconds back to Jep Snever. So these three now come over the top of this. Now, this is not the end of the ascent, but as they go through that end, they're going to descend now, and it's a big descent. and Thomas Bayan just drifting off the back a little bit. Morten Vang really going for it on this descent. Top Jimmy responding. I think Thomas Bayan is going to try and stay with them, though. He's not sitting up, relaxing after that climb. He realises the fight is on. You've got to stay with him on the descent. He's closing it down a little bit, inch by inch. It's getting closer. Thomas is back on, and we're now looking at Tim Humpton just coming through to the top of the climb as they race away down this descent. As I say, there's a little bit of a ramp before the end, but this is now all about a descent. Can Tim Humpton do anything on the descent? Now, we've seen Tim get very, very strong towards the end of races. 3.4 kilometres to go. The climbing's done. Tim is quite strong, and of course in these races you can pedal all the way down the descent, so I wouldn't write Tim off yet. But I do think that's a big ask. 37 seconds. I think this is going to be a race between these three, and they all look quite strong at the moment. Nobody has been absolutely flattened by the others. As Top Jimmy takes the lead, as I say, they're on this descent. It's minus 1%. It's not huge, but it's enough to give you a lift. You keep pedaling. 2%, a little bit of a bump there. It's perhaps not all the way down the descent, but 4% now. It's a little bit of bump. You can see the horizon. They'll be over that and descending again. Top Jimmy losing a little bit of a place there. A couple of wheel lengths back. He then catches up. They're on the descent again. And Top Jimmy back in the pack as he glides past the other two down the line. Tim Humpton in fourth place in the chase. Can he make up ground? Tim Humpton is 36 seconds behind. So the gap is about what it was as Tim got to the top of the climb. It's not going to, it's not looking like it's coming down. 37 seconds now. As I say, it's not coming down. And again, he's got the same gaps going backwards to Carl Lundberg. Although Carl Alexander Persson looks to me as if he might be catching Carl. We'll have to see how that one plays out. As we look at Snaver in sixth position with Carl Axel Persson. So the front, back to the front three. They are tight as anything. And we've only got 1.4 kilometres to go. Three of them now. Will there be cat and mouse or not? Morten Vang taking the lead at the moment for Evox. The Top Jimmy not shy about going in front. Mind you, this is a descent. It's not as if you're sort of pushing into a headwind or anything like that and taking one for the team here. This is a descent. Minus 2% is not a lot, but it's enough. But don't forget, look at the profile in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. It rises up now a little bit as they come out of the lip of the lake up to the finishing line. Right, 4% here. Morten Vang looking the strongest. Can he create a gap? Top Jimmy has drifted off a little bit. Thomas Bayan is struggling to catch up with Morten Vang. I don't think it's over yet, though. I think Top Jimmy might just be catching up with Thomas Bayan. And Top Jimmy looking like he's going to catch Thomas Bayan. But can Morten Vang get away? 0.5 kilometres. There's 500 metres to go. I think Top Jimmy's out of this now. It's between Thomas Bayan and Morten Vang. Top Jimmy definitely out of it now. There's a 2-second gap. He's not going to make that up in the last 400 metres. Thomas Bayan goes for it. Is Morten Vang finished now? Thomas Bayan looking very, very strong. 300 metres though. He's still got a bit of a push to go. Minus 3%. It's on a descent. I think Morten Vang sat out and said, I'll take second place. And the finishing line is now in place. Fantastic finishing from Thomas Bayan. Morten Vang now 3 seconds behind. Top Jimmy sitting up on 10. Fantastic. Well done, Thomas Bayan for Electric Spirit. Morten Vang for Evox coming in third. I'm delighted with Top Jimmy riding for West London coming in third. Fantastic. Great stuff, guys. Ludwig Karlberg is behind Tim Hampton. There's Top Jimmy coming in. Tim Hampton will be next. That fantastic result. Well done, Thomas Bayan, the Belgian rider, beating the Norwegian Morten Vang, and Top Jimmy from Uxbridge in West London, riding for the West London VR team, taking a fantastic third. Well done, Jimmy. It's fantastic stuff. We're looking at Tim Hampton now coming in fourth quite comfortably, it may seem, but there's still 3 seconds back to Ludwig Karlberg. I don't think Ludwig's going to catch him, and the gap's actually widening. Tim always finishes strongly, and he's just made sure that there's no challenge from Ludwig, who is coming across the line now. Ludwig taking a very credible fifth. So, which one out of these two riders is going to take the next place? Carl Axel Xander Pedersen, or Jep Snaver for R3R. Carl in the red, Jep Snaver in the blue is pushing it. Is Carl going to respond? Carl is quite a good finisher, and Carl is coming round. Oh, yes, what a fantastic finish. I think Jep's not going to respond to that. Oh, he's trying. Oh, well done, both of you. Great finish. Jep Snaver, though, having to settle for seventh. Oh, look at that. Absolutely fantastic. Matt James just getting over, Owen Sprenger, sorry, just getting over the line before Matt James. Rob Miller, Zeb Norman coming in next. So some exciting little sprints and duels coming out in that one towards the end. Fantastic stuff. Now, would you like to see Neil Walker at 18th? Neil's other half, Eileen, is actually one of the ladies riders, and I know they share a smart trainer, so only one of them rides in any particular race. So great to have Neil back, but it means Eileen's not racing, which is great news for Lee Louie, because it's the best out of 6. So if Lee Louie gets another 100 points here, she can be the she can take another 100 points towards the Ladies League, which is the best of 6 results. As we see, that was I'm not sure who that was coming over the line. I wasn't paying attention. Looking at Gordon Jackson, Clive Byam from OTR. Don't forget, Chase the Yellow starts tomorrow. This is over the next 2 weeks, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Really looking forward to this. It's going to be a busy time on Indy Velo. Let's just have a look at what's coming up and what you can expect from Chase the Yellow. This has been a phenomenal success on other platforms. It's coming to Indy Velo. Make sure you're part of this. It's tomorrow night and Thursday night, and it will be the same next week. Really looking forward to this. It's going to be a smash. Plenty going on. Isn't Indy Velo taking the world by storm? There's other things going on in the headlines, but Indy Velo is the one that all the chat I'm hearing about is positive about this, and the word on the street is Indy Velo is the place to be. So make sure you are part of that, and Chase the Yellow is not a bad place to start, apart from, obviously, I'm going to be fairly biased about our own races too, but we love Indy Velo, so we treat them all equally. Look out for the OTR time trials as well. Team Time Trials brought to you by OTR on Indy Velo now. It's all taking shape very nicely. Lee Louie in 26. Neil Pure for OTR Racing. And we're looking at Neil Walker now. As I say, that's Eileen's other half. And he comes in 17th. Well done, Neil. Absolutely splendid. Tony Martin Lake is the next rider to come across. Finishing nicely there solo. And he's got quite a big gap back to Evan Oystenson. I'm not sure what happened to him. Evan Oystenson now on your screen. He's got a little way to go, 1.3 kilometres towards the end, and I'm not sure why there's quite a big gap there. I suspect that's down to the climb. Let's recap about the finishing positions now. Tim Humpton the 4th, as Ludwig Karlberg 5th, Axel Xander Persson, 2 Swedes 5th and 6th. Jep Snaver for Denmark. It's quite Nordic, isn't it? Top 6 with top 7 with 4 Scandinavians in there. Martin Young from Norway, of course. 8th, Erwin Sprengers from the Netherlands. Matt James at 9th for Great Britain. Rob Miller and Zed Norman 10th and 11th. R3R getting a little bit eclipsed by the Electric Spirit team at the moment, but R3R are a top team. Don't discount them. Anders Ostergaard is the next Scandinavian in at 12th. Dan Manilow 13th. Oh, look at this. Somebody's going to... Yes, Gordon Jackson now is just overtaken Evan Oystenson. Evan's response is to ramp it up a little bit for R3R. They're on a 3% climb. This is the ramp just before the finish. Evan now taking the race to Gordon. Will Gordon respond or just sit on the wheel, bide his moments? 400 metres to go between these two. Battling it out for 19th and 20th places. And Gordon just sitting on the wheel. I think Gordon's quite comfortable. It's down to 0%. It's now down into the descent, into the finishing line. And Evan really is pushing a little bit harder at the moment. Just gains that wheel length or two. Will Gordon respond? And Gordon has responded. Has he gone too soon, or is he going to fly by? He's created a big gap, and I think everybody will be delighted. Oh no, I think Evan's fighting back. No, I think he's given up at that point. Fantastic stuff, Gordon. Everybody's favourite after that forlorn chase back a few weeks ago, which caught everybody's heart as far as I can tell. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Sandy Thompson, 21st, as I say, from down there in Bristol. Thanks very much for your messaging. It's this week, Sandy. Great to hear from you. Clive Byam from OTR. As I said, remember those OTR TTT events on Indy Velo. Danielle Istrate for AEO is at 23rd. Marius Kodfeg at 24th. And Neil Pugh, another OTR rider, 25th. Lee Louis at 26th. And I think that's probably going to be where we get to for finishers. Sandy Thompson coming in there. Well done, Sandy. Great racing. So Clive Byam is the next rider to watch. I say numbers down a little bit. All of our West London riders, except for Top Jimmy, who took third place, absent tonight. Alex Gold absent tonight, and that is entirely due to the fact that we had an in real life event today. If you're not from the UK, it's a public holiday today, which is why we had a big race on. So the race is not a race, actually; it was an endurance event. And so the Alex Gold, for example, even if he'd raced, would have had to do that on top of 200 kilometres of, I wouldn't say brutal climbing, but certainly up and down in the Chiltern Hills here in the southeast of England. Clive Byam coming in for OTR in 22nd place. Danielle Istrate is next. It looks like she might be taking the ladies' points. That'll not be great for Lee Louis, but I think if you look at this difference, if Danielle gets 100 points, then Lee Louis will get 97, which is quite good. I think she'll be quite happy with that. Well done, Daniela. And slightly sort of just slowing down. You can see the effect of 5%. I ride on Indy Velo myself, not particularly as a racer, but I go on it for, I want to say, pleasure. It's not always pleasure going up there. Oh, she stopped pedalling for a moment now, and I just wondered whether it could be disastrous. She's got 3 minutes 47 on Lee Louis, though, in the ladies' race, so not too much to worry about there. Going back to the results then, let's have a look at those. I think we got down to Rob Miller and Zeb Norman at 10th and 11th. Anders Ostergaard at 12th. Dan Manilow at 13th. Stevie Cooper from Glasgow United up there in Dumbarton in Scotland, getting a very good 14th there. Luciano Vlerdrome at 15th, the Francais. And Jan van der Linden, the Netherlander, 16th. Neil Walker from Scotland, Eileen's other half, 17th. Tony Martin Lake at 18th. The wonderful Gordon Jackson just pipping the great Evan Oysterson from R3R into 19th place, and Evan taking 20th. Bad luck, Evan. But that was a great tussle. Sandy Thompson, an absolute gentleman for reasons I've already stated, at 21st. Clive Byam from the wonderful OTR in 22nd. And I know OTR are helping out with some of the admin on Chase the Yellow, and they do a very good job. They are serious. Players in this game, as are ZMS, who produce these streams. Well done, Daniela. Fantastic result. Great to see that. And who have we got next then? So we've got Marius Kodfleg coming in at 24th. And I think, I'm just looking at that, as I say, I think we're not going to get past 26th here. I think we had more than that on the start, but not everybody's finished. Must be the steepness of those hills, I reckon. Well, perhaps. So let's see. So here we are. It's 800 meters to go, and it's like some of the scenery here is great, isn't it? I gather there's. I have to say, I've been away for a couple of weeks, not a couple of weeks, but over a week now, right over in France, riding PVP, which is a non-stop, long-distance race, and I've kind of rather been off the internet and things like that. But I did. You do scan what's going on, and I see a couple of new routes came out on Indy Velo, which I'm looking forward to trying out myself this week. If I can, I'll get on Chase the Yellow, of course, tomorrow. But nevertheless. It's I'm just a little WhatsApp group from the club. Top Jimmy is absolutely thrilled to bits with that result, and he's mentioned that he beat Tim Humpton, which I think shows just how much respect Tim Humpton gets. So I think Top Jimmy is absolutely elated. I'll have to pick up more of that from the group WhatsApp. This is our West London WhatsApp group. As I say, Top Jimmy absolutely over the moon with that result. Marius Quadfleg now with 300 metres to go as we go round the lakeside, and it's Neil Pugh still to come in and Lee Louis still to come in. So some fantastic finishing tonight, and you could argue that the hills do sort of change this. They do sort of break it up a little bit, but nevertheless, you still get these great little duels between the groups, don't you? And they're all fighting for points because your points are on your finishing position. It's not cumulative time in this series; it's on your finishing position in each race. It doesn't matter whether you're 1 metre or 100 metres behind the person in front; you will get 1 point less than them. So if you are together, that wheel length could be that extra point in the series. We're watching Neil Pugh now as he rolls home at in 25th position. 26th, Lee Louis will take. We'll keep her top of the Ladies' League for now, and we will see if Eileen Davison, how many races Eileen does. There's only 4 races left. I think Eileen has done 2, and it's a best of 6. If Eileen doesn't see Neil, you're going to have to let Eileen have to train her on Mondays. So that might be the last we see of Neil Walker now, mightn't it? Anyway, it's Neil Pugh coming in now. Lots of Neils in the race, eh? So Neil taking a great 25th position. As I say, numbers down a little bit this week. There are reasons for that, and I'm sure we'll be back bouncing along with Mundi Balarki very, very soon. Lee Louis now coming in, the ladies' choice at the moment, and she's just catching up with what I assume might be a bot, actually. I'm not sure. Let's see what happens if she goes past. Yes, doesn't actually tell us, does it? So anyway, Lee Louis is coming up in 26th, and she got 500 metres to go as we look around. Yeah, as I say, the graphics of these lakes are fantastic. I know there's some new courses coming up. I think Indy Velo is going to grow and grow and grow. It's so intuitive and smooth, though, isn't it? I mean, it's just like you get on it and it just glides, the whole thing. Every time you sort of like try to do something, it just goes click, bang, you're there. It's proving to be very, very popular. And we're only at the embryonic stage. So, if it looks like this when it's just sort of testing itself out in beta, we all know how amazing Indy Velo potentially is. And I think it will be. High hopes for this. Now then, just 200 metres now for Lee Louis. You can see the finish, and she drops down onto the drops to finish the race off. So another absolutely thrilling Indy Velo race with Mundi Malarkey. This week is going to be a bumper week with Chase the Yellow on Tuesday and Thursday as well. Where else do you want to be apart from Indy Velo at the moment? Absolutely amazing. So then, here we are, just a recap of the top 10. Rob Miller coming in at 10th for R3R. R3R, just 2 riders in the top there. Yep Snaver at 7th. Owen Springers and Matt James in between those two at 8th and 9th. Carl Axels and a person keeps his good form going up. Evox with 2 riders in the top 6 now. They're beginning to take shape. The team competition in Series 2 could be amazing. One of the reasons that we sort of slightly delayed doing it is just to allow teams to get their riders involved with it. But Electric Spirit, Evox and R3R looking like the teams to beat. CLS, they do probably could do with another couple of riders. Owen Springers looked like an early contender for the series, but then missed a couple of races. So CLS, just watch out for them. BL13, I think we've seen them for the first time. West London VR, my own team. I think that's the best position we've had. Well done, Top Jimmy. And I know you're absolutely beaming and bouncing around because I can see our WhatsApp group on my phone. Thank you very much, ZMS, for producing this. As ever, they are really the best broadcasters. Make sure if you're watching online racing, it's a ZMS production. Indy Velo, You are really, really, really building something big here. Thank you very much, everybody, for being part of this. I absolutely love this. Nevertheless, I've been organising an in real life race all day, and I think they might like me to go home soon, and I'll go and see the family. We'll see you next week, and of course, make sure you're on ZMS for the Chase the Yellow races tomorrow and Thursday. We'll see you soon. All the results and standings will be on westlondoncycling.com a little bit later. I don't know if I can actually get them up tonight because I've still got some cleaning up here to do at Race HQ, but they'll be on tomorrow, that's for sure. Thanks very much for putting up with last week when I wasn't around doing PvP. I know the results were late. Everything will get back to normal, and everything's going to be fine and dandy. Going into the autumn and winter online racing with Indy Velo. See you next week. And for those of you on Chase the Yellow, might see you tomorrow. Bye.